There's a long history of games that use motion control, like Wii Remote and Kinect. Even now, Nintendo Switch shows us that there's still a place for such games. However, this approach only works if we have the right balance of technology and content. But now there is another type of technology that also provides a great gaming experience and has some really high quality content available, and that's virtual reality. Which makes some people wonder if we could port some of those great VR games to Switch. Today I'm going to show you something you could call porting VR to Switch, but we're calling TVR, though technically we'll be viewing these games on a TV screen or monitor. We're hoping you'll like them as much as the original Nintendo Switch games, and the good news is you don't need a VR ready PC to play them. This means you can play in a small room without having to worry about other people. It's also a good alternative for those who can't wear a VR headset, because of an eye condition say, or some other health issue. You can do this with any of the following controllers: a Nintendo Switch Joy-Con, a PlayStation Move, or a combination of Wii Remotes and the Nunchuck. Though to play some games with the Wii Remote you'll need the Motion Plus extension, and the Nunchuck doesn't work with every game. In this tutorial we're going to look at how you can use this technology with Google Earth VR and VRChat, and even Beat Saber and Serious Sam. The whole thing's going to take no more than 10 minutes, so let's go. Enabling TVR is really simple. First install Steam VR. Then install Driver 4 VR. And finally launch Steam VR. Driver 4 VR will start automatically. Steam VR will indicate that no headset has been detected. At this point we enable TVR, and it will be detected by Steam VR, and you'll see the window with the title Driver 4 VR TVR Display Output. This window shows you what you would normally see through VR goggles. Now perform the Steam VR room setup as usual and enter your height as 160 cm. So now you have a headset preview on your TV or monitor, TVR. With Alt-Tab you can toggle full screen mode on or off, but nothing else interesting happens for now. We can't, for example, rotate it as if it were a VR headset. So let's add the controllers. Now we enable virtual trackers and start Driver 4 VR. This creates two VR controllers, but they won't move at this point of course, we need to connect the devices. So open Tracker Manager and our VR controllers are already there. Now enable support for your specific devices. For this tutorial we're going to use joycons. Enabling support has given us some more options, we'll come back to those later. Now we need to get the controllers connected to the PC. Let's start with the Joy-Con. To connect this to the PC, simply press the Sync button and it will connect via Bluetooth. You'll need to reconnect if you restart your PC, but this is not a big deal. PlayStation Move controllers are connected using the PS Move service, and there are plenty of tutorials about how to do this on YouTube. To connect Wii Remote we also use Bluetooth, but this time using the Join a Personal Area Network option. So press the red sync button next to the battery when connecting for the first time. To reconnect, press buttons 1 and 2 together. When the devices are detected on the device list, assign them to the left and right hand trackers respectively. Check if the devices are responding to the clicking of buttons and rotation by clicking on the preview button. And that's it. At this point the setup is practically complete, but don't go away just yet. If you find yourself having problems with your Bluetooth connection or with tracking quality, I recommend using an external Bluetooth adapter such as the Asus BT400, along with a short extension cable. It's possible to use other devices for gameplay such as a mouse or a keyboard, but they haven't been tested in any depth yet. And this is where you can have a say. If there's a specific device you'd like to be able to use, or a game you'd like us to focus on, or any other kind of feedback, let us know in the comments below. OK, now for the next step, tracking an input. The first thing to note is that when you rotate the devices, the VR controllers move around in the TVR window. The position is based on how much you're rotating the device and the settings. You can fine-tune how this works by changing the arm or shoulder length settings, although in most cases this isn't required, as you'll see later. For each device, refer to the VR configuration window in the Tracker Manager. This covers settings mapping buttons on your controllers to the standard VR ones, such as system, trigger, grip, menu, and the touchpad, as well as other tracking options. You can also assign a button to moving your hand backwards and forwards. We call this arm emulation, and it allows you to throw things, for example. Also, with each controller we can move and rotate virtually in space. The default method is using a specific button, along with a slight rotation in yaw or tilt. The left controller is for a strafing movement in all directions, and the right one lets you rotate and move up and down. Some controllers have alternative settings for this movement, so again, check the VR configuration for details. When you want to return quickly to a central position, just press and hold the recenter button for a few moments. OK, we're nearly done now, but this is important. When you're playing a game, the controllers might drift away from their expected positions, especially when you make sudden, rapid movements. When this happens, you just need to point them forward and then click the recenter button, and this will make them realign with the direction of view. The last feature that can really improve your experience with some games is emulating head rotation. You can enable this in the TVR settings. It's quite a natural and intuitive way to emulate headset rotation. Put simply, your view follows the controllers. You can see for yourself how well this works in Google Earth or playing something like VRChat or Serious Sam. But this feature isn't required for every game. For example, you wouldn't use it with Beat Saber. So by combining the input of controllers and optionally using virtual movement and rotation or emulating head rotation, we end up with a pretty good port of VR to desktop. OK, so finally, let's take a look at how to play some of the games we've talked about in this video. We don't need to adjust any settings because I've created an auto profile. Let's start with Beat Saber. When it's launched, the viewing angle will auto adjust, making the boxes and lasers easily visible. Change the settings to disable obstacles. You can use the rotate feature to adjust other settings if you need to, and then long press the recenter button to reset the view. You should find you can play with friends on easy and medium levels with no problem. Some people can even do it on expert level. Again, don't forget to reset the orientation if you experience controller drift. Let's try Google Earth now. Auto configuration will turn on head rotation for you, because the application works much better this way. It's a great way to experience different physical locations with family and friends without leaving home. VRChat is also very interesting when played this way. It's a much better experience compared to the classic desktop version. You can also emulate arm extension, which makes throwing things and head patting possible. And don't forget you can move and rotate in space, as demonstrated earlier. Again, you can find the details in the VR configuration panel. Last but not least, we have Serious Sam VR, The Last Hope. TVR works well here on most levels, though there are a few exceptions, when you have to use a bow, for example. But the gameplay is really engaging. It's almost like it was originally designed to be played this way. Again, remember to use the recenter button when your view seems to be off. OK, that's the end of the tutorial. And that's how, with the help of regular game controllers, we can play games on the PC that bear comparison with some of the best Nintendo Switch titles. Try Driver 4 VR for yourself today, and let us know what you think.